Good evening and welcome to True Dugman Encounters. I'm your host, Marvin Allen. If you or anybody that you've known have had a sighting or encounter and would like to share it with me on my channel, then please contact me. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. But I made a post earlier today and asked, which encounters y'all want me to tell. So without further ado, let's jump right into this encounter. Now, this encounter right here comes from one of my eyewitnesses, and this happened in Maryland. Now, I won't give out the location because out of respect and out of they asked me not to. So let's get it. This happened during the time my eyewitness said they had just left a basketball game. Now, after leaving the game, they stopped at the store before heading home. So they go in the store, they get the things that they need, and they leave to get back in the car. They started to drive. As they was driving, my eyewitness friend said, let's go down this street. Don't go down that other street right there. Let's cut off. Let's take the long way home. But my eyewitness said, no, I gotta hurry up and get home. She said, come on, girl. You act like you a little kid. So my witness said, no, I'm not a kid. I just promised my parents that I would be home at a certain time. So she said, yeah, whatever. So they kept on driving. But they was driving. They had to go down one of these roads that was real dark. So as they driving, it started to drizzle just a little. So they driving and they talking. As they driving and talking, my eyewitness noticed something just up in the road. So she slowed down and she hit her brakes. She stopped. And she tell her friend, she say, look, what is that? My witness said it was just right at the beginning of the road. And when she seen it, it was down on all fours. So she eased up a little bit and she drive a little more and she stopped. Now her lights hit this thing. And when it hit this thing is turning his head and it's looking in their direction. And she said when it turned and it looked in her direction, she said that it looked like a man and a goat in the face. And she asked her friend, she said, do you see that thing right there? Is it a goat? She said, because to me, it looked like a person too. She said, yeah, I see it, but I don't know what it is. Just go ahead and just drive past. She said, no, I don't know what that thing is. So my eyewitness said she hit the horn, beep, beep. She said that's when this thing walked out on all fours and then it stood up. She said when this thing stood up, it looked like something out of a horror movie, something that was mutated. It looked like a half goat and a half human. She said this thing had horns. She said, but the bottom part looked like a goat. And it was covered in gray fur. She said this thing turned and it faced them. And it just stared at them. Now mind you, I asked her, how tall was this thing? She said this thing was between 6 and 7 feet tall. She said as this thing turned and it faced them, that's when she began to put her car in reverse. And she started to just back up. They said they started to back up. That's when this goat man type creature took a few steps forward. And when it took a few steps forward, it stopped. And when it stopped, it turned its head to the right. And when it turned its head to the right, they said this thing started to walk off on its hind legs on the other side of the road that led into an open field. So my eyewitness and her friends, they watched this creature as it continued to walk across this open field until it got out of view. That's when they pulled off and they headed home. They got home. She didn't tell her parents. She didn't tell her mother. She didn't tell her father. She told her youngest brother what she saw. And she told her youngest brother, promise me you won't say nothing to mommy or daddy. And he said, I promise you. And that was her sighting. She said, this wouldn't be the first and last time that she saw this creature. She saw this creature again when riding her and her boyfriend one night. They said the road they was traveling on, it was an old house just set back, just off the road. And then they was riding, they see this same type creature walk from one side of the street to the other. And I asked, I said, was it the same one? She said, I don't think so. Because this one had black in it. She said it was gray fur, but it had black. And she said that creature walked from one side of the street to the other. And they watched this creature as it did that. When it got on that other side, they said they see this creature fumbling. Like it was looking for something. But mind you, it's not paying them attention. They said it like this creature was fumbling. They said that's when they see this creature bends down and it picks up something. And it walks back to the other side of the road. They said in this creature's hand was some kind of small animal. And it walked back towards this house that's set back just off the road. and they continued to drive and go home. She still didn't tell her parents about what she seen on them back roads in Maryland. She didn't open up until her father had a sighting of a rake type creature out hunting one day while in a tree stand. He noticed something kept triggering the cameras, but he could never catch it on tape. While in this tree stand, he hear something walking about 30 yards in the woods. That's when he look and he see this pale white type creature. He said the body was all wrong on this thing. It's like the legs looked at like a bug, like a praying mantis with that wide long mouth. It really didn't have a nose, large eyes, and it didn't have no ears. This is the description that he gave me, and this is the description I'm giving y'all. He said he watched this thing as it walked. He said, but he was praying the whole time that this thing didn't look up in that tree stand. Said this thing had long arms, but it's like his hand fingers turned straight into claws. What type of creature did he see in these woods? He described it to me as a rake. That's when his daughter opened up about what she saw on those back roads. And I was grateful and I was blessed just to get their encounters. So without further ado, let's jump right into this next encounter. Now this next encounter, it happened in the South. Now my eyewitness really didn't want to share this with me, but finally she opened up. It was because of her profession and the job that she held. She said one day while leaving a friend's house, she decided to stop at the gas station. She said she don't know what made her stop at the gas station because she didn't need no gas. So she pulls and she parks. And this gas station is just out. It's no houses or nothing like that. So she's sitting at this gas station and she started to text on her phone. And she let her oldest son know that she's on her way. So she stopped texting, she put her phone down, and she continued to drive. And as she driving, she said she really couldn't explain it. But she said as she's driving, it's like she could see these dark shadows paralleling her, following in the same direction as she going. She said she kept catching glimpses of these black shadows just running, keeping up with her. Now, mind you, that's when she lets down the window just a little bit. That's when she can hear the crack, crunch, crunch, crack, crunch, crunch. That's when she hear the leaves, the sticks, branches. Things are being broke as this dark shadow runs through the woods on the same side that she's driving on. So she rolls up her window. She continues to drive. She gets to this intersection where she have to make a right. And when she makes a right and goes down this road, it takes her to her house. So she makes this right and she continued to drive. And as she continued to drive, she catches a glimpse of these shadows again. And they still paralleling her in the woods, the same direction. So she finally gets to her house. She pulls up. She pulls up in the driveway. She parks, she sit there. She gets on the phone. She calls her son. She said, "Can you come outside?" He said, "Where you at?" He said, "I'm in the driveway. Just come on outside." Son comes outside, come up to the car, taps on the window. She opens the door and get out. He said, "You was here. Why you call me outside?" He said, "No, I just wanted you to come outside. That's all." He said, "Ma, you all right?" She said, "Yeah, I'm all right." So she goes in the house. When she goes in the house, she can't stop thinking about these dark shadows that she's seen